Hey guys, John here. I hope you're all doing well. In today's video, we're going to revisit the Victory Kraken Mark II, the VX Mark II, version 2 of this wonderful 50-watt lunchbox amplifier by Victory. Amplification, co-designed with Rabia Masad. It's versatile, it's compact, but like I said, 50 watts, I think, so it's quite powerful, and it has an interesting sound. I just wanted to revisit this amplifier and see if it's as good as I remember it being. We're going to try it out with a bunch of different guitars and just have some fun, okay? In terms of the signal chain, my guitar, the guitar that I'm holding right now is my custom RH Guitars DCO, which I love. It has the bare knuckle aftermath in it, sounds really mean. That's going into my pedal board for the odd effect here and there. Then it's going into the amp, and the amp is being fed into my Grossmann Fatbox 1x12 ISO cabin, which I've loaded up my Celestion Vintage 30, mic'd up with 3 mics, 2 SM57s and 1 MD421 Kompakt, sent into the DAW, et voila. Okay, so 3-channel amplifier, shared EQ, 2 master volume controls, a presence control, gain controls for gain 1 or clean, and a gain control for the gain 2 channel. On the back, we have a bass focus switch, as well as a switch that changes the behavior of the presence control. We're going to mess with all of that, okay? So I have a nice tone dialed in on the gain 2 channel, a nice high gain tone. The bare knuckle aftermath sounds really nasty. Sounds really great with this amplifier, like really filthy. Yeah, I love that. Sounds really filthy, right? Really tight and articulate chug. So tight bottom end and really textured mids, if you will. A lot of string definition coming through. So I think in the amplifier, they're filtering out a bunch of low end in order to make it as tight, you know, on the low end chugs. This is tuned to drop C sharp. Trust me, there are not a lot of amps that are this tight and articulate. Some of them are, like the EVHs, for example, and some Engel amps and stuff, but this one is made for that articulate and tight tone, right? It's a little bit hissy. It sounds a little bit noisy. I'm going to try to cut that in post. Just so you know, I do have a noise gate up front, but not in the loop or anything like that. So that's how it sounds with this guitar. Again, pretty mean, huh? It's incredibly satisfying. So this amp does not have a resonance or depth control, really. It only has the bass focus control. I have it set to the big sounding setting. There's also a tighter setting, which I personally do not really like, but we can check it out anyway. Let me play some chugs first. So this is with the chunky setting, if you will. And then let's turn the bass focus on or off or whatever it is, probably on. You know, it makes it sound more tight, but there's just not enough low end that way. So I prefer the bass focus off. But again, it's very articulate, right? You can hear every note. Quite nice, isn't it? All right, just for fun, let's try some effects here, okay? Guess which effect that is, huh? Just having some fun here, okay? That's obviously a wah-wah. Let's try the presence control, okay? Since it has 2 modes and everything. The previous version did not have the presence control, which really was my main gripe with it. With the presence control, it really opens up the amplifier. So right now I have it set to noon on the normal settings. So there are like 2 settings. And in the video, I remember that Rabia said that he thought that this amp didn't need a presence control. When you turn it all the way off, it is how the old one sounds, apparently. It sounds a little bit blanketed, right? So let's do some sweeping of the presence control. So right around noon sounds great for me. Let me change the presence setting on the back. Right, so this is the normal mode. And let me enable the presence shift. It's a different character. It's much more upfront in the upper mids, right? Sounds really upfront and in your face, but I think that I prefer the other mode. It's just a little bit more laid back sounding. It's a little bit more subtle. We can make this tone a little bit more aggressive by adding some treble. So while we're at it, let's just see how the treble control affects the tone. Let's add a little bit. Just a little bit of definition there. Let's mess with the mid control as well. Yeah, so right around noon works just fine. It sounds pretty good scooped too, so a little bit scooped, let's say 11 o'clock. Let's do the bass control as well. Add some nice mass for sure, so let's put it at 1 o'clock. So this is how we have it dialed in right now. Hell yeah, sounds awesome. Let's see what kind of gain range the gain control has for gain 2. So at noon, it's really a crunchy tone, not a high gain tone anymore. I don't think this is the very best guitar for crunchy tones with this amp. Maybe we'll try that with another guitar. Let me max out the gain. It's gonna get quite noisy, but let's see how that sounds. It didn't really make the amp much noisier, interesting enough. That's nice. But yeah, I think 3 o'clock-ish. It's a pretty good spot, maybe even a little bit lower. Yeah! Okay, I've switched to another guitar. As you can see, this is my Dunable Minotaur with EMGs, EMG 81 in the bridge, just to see how this amp sounds with active pickups, all right? Tight and barky. A little bit under gained, so let's add a little bit of gain and cut the mids as well to compensate for that EMG tightness. I've added a little bit of bass as well. Quite nice. So far, I do prefer it with the passive pickups, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't sound good. In fact, it sounds really awesome. Let's scoop the mids a little bit more, add some treble. Yeah, it's a lot of fun to play chuggy stuff. I think since EMGs are voiced in a certain way that push the mids and cut the lows, it's maybe a little bit too much for this amp, but it surely doesn't sound bad or anything. It sounds very punchy and direct. Just enjoy the filth and the texture of the passives a little bit more. Let's also try something else. All right, I've grabbed my Kiesel Crescent 8, my new custom 8-string. I love this guitar so much. This amp was really made with low-tuned guitars in mind, seriously. Sounds super tight in the low end, you know. That really helps with really low-tuned guitars like this. Sounds really awesome. Let's tweak the sound a little bit. Let's add some mids back in, lower the bass, add a bit of gain, add a bit of treble. That sounds great. Let me tune this guitar to drop E as well. Yeah! Sounds awesome. I could play this guitar for hours. I'm not gonna do that right now. I'm gonna grab another guitar. All right, I've grabbed my Henry's Music Snake 2, kind of a Strat with the humbucker in the bridge. Sounds something like this. Love this guitar. Let's try some more nuanced tones, okay? Because I know there are some boomers out there who want to hear this amp with lower gain and clean tones. Let's lower the gain for the Gain 2 channel. Since this is such a tightly voiced amp, it's not going to sound great with lower gain, especially not on a bridge pickup. But we can try the neck pickup, so the single coil neck pickup. Yeah, in my opinion, that's also just too thin sounding. So if you ask me, Gain 2 is just for high gain. So let's switch over to Gain 1 and see how that sounds. First with the humbucker. It's kind of more of a British tone. Let's crank the gain up all the way. Right. Switching to the neck pickup. Yeah, much better suited for single coil tones, for low gain tones. All right, let's lower the gain. That's actually a really nice stratty tone. Really enjoy that. Just for fun, let's try a fuzz pedal, okay? That's the Chthonic Fuzz by DOD, just for fun. All right. Let's lower the gain even further. At this point, it starts to lose a bit of body. We can up the bass a little bit. Yeah, so I think the Gain 1 sound or mode is a bit better with a little bit more gain. Finally, let's try the clean mode. It's not going to sound great with this bridge pickup here. That's really low gain. Let's crank the gain. Let's remove a little bit of treble, lower the master a little bit. It's a cool clean tone, nothing wrong with that. It's going to break up a bit more with the humbucker. So yeah, this amp has a wide range of tones. Upon revisiting the amp, I'm really enjoying it. I love it. I love it. Are there any gripes? Not really. Of course, there's just one EQ, but I think you can make it work. I think the amp is voiced in such a way that you can make it work with just one EQ section for the entire amplifier. Worst case, you can put an EQ in the loop or something, or an EQ up front. I like the gain 2 channel, very articulate and nasty. It is a little bit on the noisy side. It's a bit hissy, okay? So a noise gate in the loop could work well for that. I'll mute it in the video just because it's more pleasant to watch and listen to. But just so you're aware, it's a little bit like shh throughout, but not a really extraordinary amount or anything like that. Amps that are very tight and voiced aggressively tend to have a little bit more hiss going on anyway. The gain 1 channel is sweet for more classic vintage tones, and the clean channel is nice too. So I'm glad I tried this amplifier again. I like it a lot, and perhaps in the future I'll shoot it out against something like an EVH or something. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below because I'd love to know. Also, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram. And if you want to support this channel, get an amp like this at Thomann or Sweetwater through my affiliate links. That's always greatly appreciated. Or check out my sonicdrivestudio.com web store where I sell capture packs, IR packs, and all that good stuff. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Cheers!